Welcome to another scriptural calendar study. Yes, we are going to discuss why today is the second day of the 8th month and why this actual astronomical fact is inarguable as it relates to the scriptures, let alone as it relates to the sun, moon, and stars. So today is the pagan day of Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. Yesterday, as per our previous scriptural study, uploaded yesterday, we had shown that we filmed all 4 night watches up to the dawn star to 4th watch with the sun, moon, and stars, all the way up to sunrise, where in my area, the moon did indeed greet the sun at sunrise. So again, many of you retrieved, thankfully, as Bereans, the same film and photograph footage. Now, in some locations, the moon did not greet the sun at sunrise yesterday. And this event, celestial event, happens 2 to 3 times annually, as we have shared so many other times. So as we go through this particular scriptural study, it will be so important to stop the video at any time to understand both the scriptural and the astronomical information being shared, to focus on the writings of Hanok applied in the real world today, as each and every one of you may not have realized that you've already proven it. So let's get into this study. Again, we are believers on this YouTube channel of all 3 witnesses of light to tell time: the sun, the moon, the lesser light, the greater light is the sun, and the stars, plural, not just one star, because all of these 3 witnesses that work in perfect harmony to tell us our days and years provide signs. All 3 witnesses of light provide signs, not just one, not just 2, but all 3. That is undeniable proof from the very first page of Scripture. Now, that's inarguable from a documentation standpoint. Can you ignore it? Sure. There are many solar calendars headed up by the mother of all manifest movements called the Roman Catholic Church. And are there lunar calendars only? Yes. So at the end of the day, are there solar-lunar calendars only? Yes. They do not alone produce signs. It's the sun, moon, and stars. So let's get that out of the way. Because if you have a lunar-solar only approach and you remove the signs, the blood is on your hands, not mine. This is why we do these scriptural study videos. It's one of the many reasons that we've laid out in regards to the purpose and intent of this particular scriptural YouTube channel. We are going to focus today why Hanok chapter 78, verses 12 through 13, state that it's a fully restored moon that creates the first day, because she's called new moon. She becomes full moon exactly on the day when the sun sets in the west, and from the east she rises at night. And the moon shines the whole night through till the sun rises over against her, and this is the dawn. Because even a sunrise view, the sun doesn't rise over the moon. Think about that for a moment. And the moon is seen over against the sun. This is a dawn day start that they're talking about. So again, the moon and stars to rule by night, for his kindness is everlasting. And at the dawn, that light is on a lampstand. You see the sun, plus you still can observe the stars, which produce the signs for each and every new moon day, let alone feast days and other things. And because we are in the 8th month, the moon ruled with the star cluster, or 7-star cluster, known as Pleiades. And we'll get into that further in this scriptural study video. So remember, the heavens are proclaiming the esteem of the Almighty One, and the expanse is declaring the work of his hand. Day to day pours forth speech, and night to night reveals knowledge. Yes, the whole face of the clock over the whole face of the earth. This is why Yahuwah's witnesses are wonders, and why our being observes them with the whole face of the clock on the whole face of the earth. Again, this type of work and the etymology behind it with scriptural words and letters requires patience. Remember, timekeeping, the action or process of recording how long something takes, requires patience. So we're going to talk about who is actually waiting on Yahuwah, and who is not. Because the ones that are not waiting on a Yahuwah still preach a sunrise day start or a sunset day start. And as the prophet Zechariah, chapter 8, verse 7 stated, "Thus said Yahuwah, our Father of light of hosts, see, I am saving or delivering my people from the land of the sunrise and from the land of the sunset." Yes, Babel, the land of confusion that came from Egypt. So what am I getting at? So, take a look at what the Babylonian calendar did. They started their days at sunset, where you could see the greater light, that orb, and the moon as a crescent, that orb. A solar-lunar approach only. And that's what they have done. And it has created from the mother of all manifestation movements, the mother of all clubs, various types of calendars that are non-scriptural. Furthermore, are we not to come out of Egypt in all forms of paganism, including sunrise day starts? Why? Well, it's very easy. History has shared with each and every one of us that the more things change, the more they stay the same. And furthermore, doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. So again, this lunar solar approach, crescent moon, and the orb, the greater light, is what's called a horizontal or syzygy movement. It has been transferred to the full moon believers, where they say that the full moon, greeting the sun at sunrise, is the end-all, do-all witness. Lunar solar approach. It's nothing different than this because it produces chaos. So again, when you do the scriptural calendar, Hanok in chapter 78, verses 12 through 13, was talking about all three witnesses of light, the sun, moon, and the stars as well. Notice that in both cases, the full moon at the horizon and the crescent moon at the horizon, at sunset versus a sunrise, the moon is not a light on a lampstand, like it is during the dawn time period and or the second and third watches when that moon passes its 180-degree mark. This is an astronomical fact that is inarguable. It can be ignored, and this is why Yeshayahu states his thoughts are not your thoughts, meaning the Almighty Father of light's thoughts, Yahuwah himself, the only self-existent one, his thoughts are not like the world's thoughts. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. So let's get to the meat of this. Because a scriptural day start, a true scriptural day start, starts at the dawn. Bereshith, chapter 1, verse 5, and there came to be morning. Bokar, the first day. Bereshith, chapter 19, verse 15, and when morning, Shakar, dawned. Yonah, the sign of Jonah, chapter 4, verse 7, but as morning, Shakar dawned the next day. Remember, at the dawn, the moon is still a light on a lampstand and is ruling with the stars. And at the dawn, the moon shines the whole night through till the sun rises over against her. And if you understand the dawn first light, that light rises over against the moon. And the moon is seen over against the sun. That's how it works astronomically. It's inarguable, but it can be ignored, as it is. Furthermore, looking at the renewed covenant, true scriptural day start, Matith Yahu, and in the fourth watch of the night, Yahushua went to them walking on the sea. So yesterday's video showed that example on the bay where I reside. I applied that scriptural passage during the fourth watch, going into the fourth watch at first light. The taught ones listened to their teacher. They came to the tomb after the Sabbath toward dawn on the first day of the week. Remember, the Messiah, Yahushua himself, went to the temple at the dawn to teach everyone. That's what he did. Thus why the taught ones did what they did. Please see also Marcus chapter 16, verses 1 through 2, Lucas 24, verse 1, Yehukanan chapter 20, verse 1. So let's get that out of the way, because in the first day of the 8th month, that anomaly caused by human beings, not Yahuwah, with the moon greeting the sun at sunrise, it's not the end-all, do-all witness. And as we had seen, Jerusalem on the pagan day of Tuesday, November 8th, did not greet the sun, but it was fully restored at the dawn and by sunrise, its highest restoration of any given day on the month before, those days leading up to the new moon day of the first day of the 8th month, and after. Very basic. Same with Cape Town, South Africa. But as you can see, the moon was at its fully restored. It was in its restoration process. Now, in my area, the moon did indeed greet the sun at sunrise. It was fully restored. And as we all know, I had, on the latest video, retrieved film and photograph footage of the sun, moon, and stars, let alone the moon greeting the sun at the dawn and sunrise. And we received information and film footage from people in California. The moon was just under 2 degrees above the horizon, and it did greet the sun at sunrise and was fully restored as well. And we did receive other film footage in the U.S. where the moon was just over 1 degree above the horizon and fully restored. So again, 2 to 3 times a year, this celestial event happens. And if you pick the dawn with a fully restored moon, you understood the restoration of all things as it relates to the moon and its restoration, then you would have seen that everybody would have been on the same page with these witnesses, as you see on the slide. Now, everybody's confirmed this already. This is no longer, as one person put it today, artificial intelligence. This is really, truly intelligence. This has been verified everywhere on earth. And the individual in question actually verified it today with his film footage. And we'll get into that. So again, the big question is, should the witnesses of light divide or unite? Well, we believe they should unite. Again, pride is concerned with who is right. Humility is concerned with what is right. This video is going to divulge further information on what is right. But it takes a humble approach. You need patience. You have to wait on Yahuwah to do this. And we'll explain this as we go through this, because timekeeping is the action or process of recording how long something takes, and it does indeed take patience. Here's the punchline. For the individual that said that forecasting in advance or artificial intelligence, well, they may indeed, like we did at one time, we're not judging this individual, because what he's going through, we went through as well. And thankfully, there was some Bereans out there that said, Michael, stop having a Winnie the Pooh, Rain Man moment with cognitive dissonance, because the individual in question as well confirmed that on the pagan day of Wednesday, November 9th, that the moon greeted the sun at sunrise. And it did, at 12 degrees above the horizon. Think about this. My moon greeted the sun for the first time on the pagan day of Tuesday, November 8th, just 1 degree over. And I had film and photograph footage of that. Today I filmed it. It once again greeted the sun at sunrise at 11.36 degrees. Every second day of any scriptural month, the moon will greet the sun at sunrise. The third day of any scriptural month, the moon will greet the sun at sunrise. So we've confirmed these 2 days, just like the individual in question confirmed his 2 days. But he denied the first day that it greeted the sun. Why? He is not a dawn restored full moon believer, where the sun, moon, and stars working together as one produce signs. It's what is known as a lunar solar approach only. It's that basic. So again, a Winnie the Pooh moment is just that. Because forecasting, people forecasted the latest lunar eclipse, right to the minute and right to the second of how long and when it started the lunar eclipse happened. So again, this has been proven, it's undeniable, it's inarguable, but people will ignore it. So again, inarguable from a scriptural standpoint, let alone an astronomical standpoint. It doesn't mean, though, that people that have a desire to serve the flesh will ignore it. Again, I know a lot of people that do not serve the Spirit, but have an insatiable appetite to serve the flesh, meaning their opinions, their ideas, rather than the full and complete approach to numbering our days. So again, this did indeed happen in the 6th month, and here it is in the 8th month. It happens 2 to 3 times a year. So, as we move forward, just to get this point across, I did get film and photograph footage yesterday at the dawn, all the way up to sunrise, of the moon greeting the sun at sunrise on the pagan day of Tuesday, November 8th. I also retrieved it today where the moon greeted the sun at sunrise at 11.36 degrees above the horizon. I plan to go out tomorrow to do the very same thing, where the moon will now be 21.52 degrees above the horizon and will greet the sun on the pagan day of Thursday, November 10th. So place that on the shelf for a moment, and remember, when you do the etymology scripturally, including Hanok's writings, it becomes really clear that the action or process of recording how long something takes requires patience. To do this work, you need patience. And you need a love or joy or delight of the understanding how the sun, moon, and stars actually work. So this requires due diligence based on a love in regards to how the days are numbered with the sun, moon, and stars. If you don't have patience, this will not work. What you'll end up doing is dumbing down everything that's available to a lunar solar only approach. And as you can see, most of the videos that you've seen that came out today mention nothing about the stars, plural. They might go back to one star called Abib, but again, the very first page of Scripture talks about the scriptural stars and then some. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to share the film footage from this morning on why it was the 2nd day of the 8th month, which is the pagan day of Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. Well, here we are on the 1st day of the 8th month, and it is the pagan day of Tuesday, November 8th. And as you can see, the moon is in its waning phase. And by tomorrow, at sunrise, it will be in the 98% illuminated range. And as per our past scriptural study videos, we are restored full moon believers, not waning moon believers. So there's a big difference. And many are catching up to this, which is just great. And we have patience. Everyone will wait upon Yahuwah for his fully restored moon and determine new moon day accordingly, just as Hanok chapter 78 stated. Because tonight, this moon will not rule the whole night through as a full moon. But it did between the pagan day of Monday, November 7th, into the midnight hours of Tuesday, November 8th, and it was a lunar eclipse. It ruled the whole night through, according to Hanok chapter 78, fully restored. So that is the only difference, and it's a big difference. But again, if you are not a fully restored new moon believer, you will choose other dates. It's that simple. So this quick scriptural study video will go over that. We'll get up tomorrow morning because this moon, in its waning phase at 98%, will indeed greet the sun at sunrise, but at approximately 12 degrees above the horizon. Now think about that for a moment. So let's get some shut-eye and start this all over again. Well, good morning. Here we are on the 2nd day of the 8th month, and there's that moon. And yesterday, if you did get that picture at the dawn, that moon, you would have noticed, would be approximately in this same location. And we're going to go over that from the dawn to sunrise. Now you need a lot of patience for this timing piece because you're looking at all three witnesses. And to the west, I still can make out Pleiades, and here we are, Orion's just starting to fade away here. So it's just after the dawn. And if I pan over, Ursa Major is definitely fading away. And there's that gorgeous dawn. So we're going to stay here till sunrise again. And the challenge with just a sunrise view, what we call the Egyptian view, remember the Egyptians started the day at sunrise only. And as we've noticed, this moon will be on the second day higher, meeting the sun on the second day of any given scriptural month. Now yesterday at sunrise, the first day of the 8th month, new moon day, if you did experience the moon greeting the sun at sunrise, it would have only been 1 degree to 2 degrees, just under, above the horizon. But you witnessed a moon that was fully restored at 100% illuminated. In my case, Anaheim, Memphis, Tennessee, Texas, in regards to the United States. And today that moon will greet the sun at a higher level. Again, the second day of any given scriptural month, the moon will be higher the second day, and it will greet the sun again, just like the third day. So the challenge with just doing sunrise are two parts, or two witnesses. One, you miss the signs of a first day event. So again, if you just wait for sunrise, panning over here, you will miss the sign. So the sign for an 8th month, Orion will be higher in the sky, Pleiades will be ruling with the moon the whole night through, and in the first day, 7th month, Hamal will be that star, but again, in the 8th month, Hamal is below the horizon. So again, take a look at that moon, and take a look today. That moon will be anywhere from 11 degrees to 12 degrees above the horizon. Now think about that. When does the first day of any given scriptural month have a moon that's 11 to 12 degrees above the horizon? Furthermore, this moon right now is 98% illuminated. So we're going to go back to Hanok writings to clarify all that. So again, if you just use sunrise as your day start, you will be in a position on Earth that, bottom line, is that you will have a discrepancy to some other folks all over Earth. So again, a first day, first month event is dictated by lights, not sunrise. So yesterday the moon was fully restored, and again, first day, first month to Hanok was a full moon, a fully restored moon. Today this moon is in its waning phase. If you have the patience to go out in all 4 night watches, all the way to the dawn and then all the way to sunrise. This takes patience if you're going to wait on Yahuwah with all of his witnesses. If you stay just with the sunrise day start, you will miss the signs of any given scriptural month. Okay, here we are at sunrise, the official time in my location. We are verifying the forecast one more time like we always do. Forecast in advance and get in creation and test and prove, because Yahuwah is reliable for those that are patient. So I'm going to pan over now back to the bay, and here's sunrise just over that one area. Now we're going to stay here and see how long that moonlight stays with us before the sun distinguishes it entirely, or overcomes it, if you will. So back to the moon, and we're going to stay here to see how long that takes. Okay then, here we are. There's the moon. And as we can see, it's past sunrise. And if I pan over, there's the sun well above the horizon. And again, the challenge with the Egyptian walk of waiting just for sunrises and shadows, as we can see now with my body on the ground, is that you rob yourself of the signs of the stars. So this is why a day start scripturally is the dawn. So tomorrow, this moon will greet the sun at sunrise again. So if you just have a sunrise view or an Egyptian walk, then all of this information that Yahuwah provides for the patient is lost. So on to the video and we'll speak more about this. So again, 2 to 3 times a year, the moon does not greet the sun at sunrise for everyone everywhere. And this celestial event causes some confusion. And here's the punchline. Even some people that have stated that today, Wednesday, November 9th, is New Moon Day, some of them have recorded videos, and we keep them all, where the moon greeting the sun at sunrise at 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, they've kept in previous months, in previous years. So why all of a sudden the change? So again, think about something else. It's extremely ironic. Because they're getting a little antsy with a moon that's 1, 2 degrees, and maybe even 3 above the horizon, they know that the light at that level is not the light on the lampstand. So they try to re-engineer by saying the next day, rather than just saying, well, wait a minute, isn't there a time period when the moon is a light on a lampstand? Oh yeah, it's the second, third watch all the way up to the dawn. But they ignore this. And if you took this approach, as you can see here, everyone would be on the very same page on the pagan day of Tuesday, November 8th, where the moon greeted the sun at the dawn at levels of 17 degrees, 13, 18, 17, and 15. Yes, a light on a lampstand. And the moon was fully restored in each of those locations. But they ignore that, just as we did at one time as well, but no more. So it gets better, because the witnesses of light should unite, not divide. And if you have a mindset of pride, you're more concerned with who is right rather than the humility approach and concerned with what is right. Because this is only the tip of the iceberg as it relates to the other witnesses. Are you ready? Because if you do indeed have patience to wait on Yahuwah, then you'll have patience to number out your days like Hanok did, now known today as Enoch. Remember, timekeeping, by definition, is the action or process of recording how long something takes, and that takes patience. Remember, everyone forecasted in advance to know that that latest lunar eclipse that happened in the wee hours after midnight on the pagan day of Tuesday, November 8th, everyone knew all over the world, right to the minute, right to the second. So again, when someone says this is artificial intelligence, well, they're just having a whiny the Pooh moment. And it is what it is, right? You can't change that. People get a little bit superstitious. It's part of the manifest movement with world religions. Again, there is enough proof on that to hide your eyes or be an ostrich and bury your head in the sand on that. Well, you have the right to do that. Again, I have film and photograph footage, along with others, that on the pagan day of Tuesday, November 8th, the moon did greet the sun at the dawn, fully restored, but it also, in my area, greeted the sun at sunrise. Just like the film footage today, the moon greeted the sun at sunrise at 11.36 degrees above the horizon and 28 degrees at the dawn. Just like tomorrow, and I'm going to go share, hopefully we get out there and the weather is doing great, the moon will greet the sun at sunrise again at 21.52 degrees above the horizon. We do not discount anything, because why? We have patience. Furthermore, the sun and the moon do not produce the signs for any given day scripturally. So when someone comes to you, oh, here's the sign we've been waiting for, just with the sun and or the moon, you know it is non-scriptural. Where does it come from? Babylon, again. Syzygy, horizontal practices. They had a crescent moon at sunset. The two orbs, they would say, creates the sign. And that has transferred over into even, regrettably, the full moon believer community, and it's unnecessary. Both of these cases, it's not a light on the lampstand. So again, the more that things change, the more they stay the same. But, I've been promising more information. So again, we use Hanok chapter 78, the full moon as new moon, the fully restored moon, and the light on the lampstand. And again, we have scriptural backup from both the old and renewed covenant to a true scriptural day start, which is the dawn. So the next witness, how many people actually have the patience, the joy, the delight in understanding, rather than just opinions, to number out these 15 days from Hanok that are described in chapter 78, verse 8. Yes, let's number those out. Let's take the patience to do that. So again, the very first day of any scriptural month comes from the chapter 78, verses 12 through 13, as we've just read in Hanok. Well, in chapter 78, verse 8, he describes the days after that. 15 days after that, he talks about how the light, the moon, after it's fully restored, how its light is diminished. So how many people have the patience to actually number that? So here we are. We do every day because we have a delight. We have joy in how the days are numbered with all of the witnesses, sun, moon, and stars. So we're going to take this now and break it out from the very first day of the 6th month, the very first day of the 7th month, and the very first day of the 8th month. We're going to share what that looks like with the diminishing of light counts. Again, this takes humility and patience to do this. Most people like to just share their opinions. They don't have the patience to do this work. So let's take a look at the 6th month. The 6th month, we had that very same scenario. Now, because we are full moon restored believers, the light on the lampstand, second, third watch, the dawn, we shared that the new moon day happened on September 10th, and others that don't take the fully restored moon, they said September 11th. Well, let's look what happens. So again, fully restored moon was September 10th. Hanok says 15 days after, the light will disappear wholly on the 15th. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There it is. So again, the first day is a standalone day. And then 78:8 talks about, and in her diminishing, decreases on the first day to 14 parts of light. You don't start this count on new moon day. And in her diminishing, again, Hanok, the very first day, it's a fully restored moon. The next day it starts to diminish. Now this time period is at the 180 degree mark. If you use the dawn, this becomes more prevalent, let alone relevant. It's much more seen. It is exposed. So take a look. Point 1. Now, if you go to the dawn, you'll see that total 0 time period. So again, we number our days. Now, let's go to the 7th month. Does the same thing happen? Well, no one argued the 7th month. New moon day was indeed on the pagan day of October 10th. Everybody was on the same page. Take the 15 days after that, there it is again. If you go to the dawn, it's even more prevalent. Well, let's go to the 8th month. Well, here we are. So we said, based on the sun, moon, and stars that create signs, not just what the other people said. Today, the people that just use their solar-lunar approach, they're saying the 9th, today, Wednesday. Well, again, if you wanted the sign, with Pleiades ruling the whole night through with the moon, and a full restoration moon at that, with a lunar eclipse, well, you would have chosen the pagan day of Tuesday, November 8th. And the 15-day count after takes you to, and all remaining light disappears on that 15th count, the day count. Not the 15th day, 15 days. This is how long it takes to happen. So again, if you go over this quickly, this is why we say stop the video, let alone go to the description box. All these charts are there. Now think about something for the people that have whiny the pooh moments, Rain Man moments, or cognitive bias. This is no longer a forecast of artificial intelligence. This has been confirmed. 6th month to the 7th month. It's already been confirmed from the 7th month to the 8th month. Now here's the forecast from the 8th month to when Hanok had stated in chapter 78, verse 8, and all the remaining light disappears on the 15th. So as you can see on the 15th count of that time period. So if you're doing this with patience and you're waiting on Yahuwah with all of the witnesses of light with the sun, moon, and stars, you would be exposed to this. If you delight in the understanding of how the sun, moon, and stars work versus opinions, well, then this will be exposed to you because you're more concerned with what is right as compared to who is right. So our plan on the community page will be to post this every day. And for this month anyways, this is how we number our days. And there's more. We're still touching the tip of the iceberg. There is way more to this, but people are catching up, and that is great. Now, we are not ahead of anybody. We're not teachers. All we do is look how the sun, moon, and stars pours forth speech day to day, and how night to night it reveals knowledge. This is all we're doing. Because a fool does not delight in understanding. Again, a lot of people do not have the joy, the love of doing this. And as such, they're at not peace with this. They claim it's artificial intelligence. And thus they air their opinions with a lunar solar approach and say that's what creates the sign. Well, it doesn't. The very first page of Scripture states otherwise. But again, you need patience to do this. You truly need patience with the fruit of the Spirit, with love, joy, peace, and patience. And this is what gives us understanding. So again, don't have a whiny the pooh moment on these things. It's very basic if you use all the writings with Scripture. So again, yes, this 8th month, like the 6th month, had the celestial event. And as you noticed, if you are a fully restored new moon believer, as a light on the lampstand, you will see the solution behind all of this, because you delight in the understanding, but you do not delight in opinions. So don't have a whiny the pooh moment. Have some patience. Wait upon Yahuwah, not any man. Do all of the work, because timekeeping is the action or process of recording how long something takes. Again, pride is concerned with who is right. Humility is concerned with what is right for everyone on the face of the earth with the whole face of the clock. Yes, we want to be part of the folks that repair the breach. Why? Because a fully restored moon gives us an example how our only teacher, the Messiah, Yahushua, will restore all things in time. And this knowledge will be common. One final thing. So this is my location. So if you took, starting from the moonrise time period on Monday, November 7th, and going through the midnight time period, you would have experienced the total lunar eclipse. And this is why the moon was 100% illuminated at the 180 mark. And it was waxing, right? And then at sunrise, 100%. But if you say otherwise, you would not have chosen the first day of the 8th month. And again, take a look. Some people are saying, oh, it's the moonrise versus the sunset. It doesn't work like that. Or it's the moonset time versus sunrise time. Again, it doesn't work like that. You're dealing with the restoration process of moon, of the light, the solar-powered moon. It's a bigger thing than what we have been originally taught. And thankfully, Bereans out there were patient with me. So once you start doing this, not just for your own area, for other areas, you'll start to see the similarities that unite us. But some people want to divide. It is what it is. You're not going to change that here and now on this earth. So, big question. Are you a restored full moon believer with that light on a lampstand? And or a waning new moon believer looking at that light when it's at its lowest to the horizon at the sunrise time period? So, something to think about. And we'll report on this. Hopefully we do a video on this tomorrow again. And we will share all of this with the true scriptural day start at the dawn, along with Hanok chapter 78, verse 8, with those counts. One final thing on the counts. When you read Hanok, it's like it's a different language. Think of it this way. If you came to Canada to build a shed in my backyard, as an example, and you were a U.S. person, you would be, as a U.S. person, on imperial measurement. Feet, yards, so forth. But when I build the shed, I'm using metric. Well, you have to understand the language of Hanok to know how to measure it, just as we did those examples. So there'll be more on that. But again, do you not know that a little leaven leavens the whole lump? And that's the sunrise and sunset day starts, the lunar solar only approach, which doesn't produce signs. And thus you get these scenarios that happen 2 to 3 times a year. Yes, indeed. Sunrise and sunset day starts are the little leaven which leavens the whole lump. So anyways, pretty basic, just as Zechariah chapter 8, verse 7 announces. So, yes, indeed. Hallelujah. It's the second day, 8th month, on the celestial clock and calendar of Yahuwah, which is the pagan day, Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. So, until tomorrow's video, may Yahuwah, the only self-existent one, our Father of lights, continue to keep and guard us, and may his Son, our only teacher, the Messiah Yahushua, be in everything we say and do. Have a great day, everyone. Until tomorrow.